Hello and welcome to Clean Talk. I'm your host, Brad Whitchurch. It is Wednesday, July 6th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and that means we're coming to you live from the Seal Shield Studios in beautiful downtown Orlando. We've got a great show for you today. We've gotten some inquiries from our Clean Talk community to find out a little bit more about Seal Shield. In addition to being the host of Clean Talk, I'm the founder of Seal Shield, and we don't want Clean Talk to be a Seal Shield advertisement. We want it to be an open community platform for the infection control community. We've had a lot of people asking us, tell us a little bit more about Seal Shield. And so we wanted to go to the horse's mouth. I'm very excited to have my guest today. Andrew McCarthy is the president and general counsel here at Seal Shield. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you on. And I understand this is your small screen debut. Is that right?
It is, but I see myself going big places from here.
Okay, well, your makeup's a little heavy and the camera adds a few pounds, but other than that, you look great. Very excited to answer some questions. And in fact, we hope that we can get some questions from our audience today. If you're watching us live, use the question and answer box to send us some questions, and we will take them here live on the show. Andrew, you know, we're a infection control podcast, so I definitely want to get into the infection control technology. But first, let's talk company stuff. Andrew, how important is culture, and how would you describe the Seal Shield culture?
I would say that it's essential, really, to achieving our mission. And so at Seal Shield, we have been very deliberate about developing that culture, and it's something that we live every day. And so I'm proud to say that for the last at least 10 years, we have been named as the best place to work in Orlando. And so that's something that I'm proud of. It's something that all of us here at Seal Shield are proud of. And as I said, it's essential to everything that we do.
I agree. And can you give us some examples? Because I think we're all very proud of some of the steps we take to enforce our culture here, and we've seen the benefit at Seal Shield. But can you give the audience some examples of some of the things we do that might not be typical in some other organizations?
Yeah, so we annually, we do a corporate cruise. And so that gives everybody the opportunity to work hard and attend meetings during the day. But when the ship gets to port, we all go out and do some activity together. So that's one example, but it's not just one big thing that we do during the year. I'd say it's a compilation of things that we do throughout the year. So by way of example, yesterday I went out with a group of people to do trivia at a local bar. We got a new bar literally right next door that allows people to bring their dogs. And so a lot of us anyway, are dog people. So we allow people to bring their dogs into the office. And it's really neat to see people outside of the office getting together. And I think that's an important component of building culture.
And we've seen it work, and we do a lot of fun things, whether it's sporting events or concerts. We do them together as a team, and you can see the camaraderie, and I think it leads to greater creativity and collaboration. We all want to do what's right to support our mission, but we also don't want to let down our teammates. And we've really developed that camaraderie through the culture, and I give you props for supporting that and really going out of your way to create these kind of events that help to support that culture.
Well, and I appreciate that. And I think that organic collaboration is very important. You can be sort of deliberate about collaboration through meetings, but just when people are sitting there talking and even after hours, they'll frequently think of an idea that they'll bring back and that we can incorporate into what we do here.
And of course, it's essential to have great people to have a great culture. And so we take great effort in attracting great people. And in fact, we have a question from Danny Caballero, a frequent listener and participant. Danny asked, what are some of the unique benefits that Seal Shield offers their employees? Well, there's a lot of them. You want to go down through some of your favorites, Andrew?
Well, we give people several days a year to volunteer for their favorite charity. And I see people volunteering at their kids' schools, volunteering for charities for blind people here in town. So that's one. One that we recently rolled out was a student loan assistance program. And I think everybody listening has probably seen all the news about politicians attempting to forgive a portion of student loan debt. And I think that whichever way you fall on that spectrum, I think it's a recognition of the big problem that we have in this country, that people come out of school with a set of skills, but they're saddled with a tremendous amount of debt. And so we really take seriously our responsibility to try to ease that burden to the extent that we're able. And fortunately, recently, the opportunity was created to do that on a tax-free basis. So we've implemented a program where we provide student loan repayment assistance. And that's actually in addition to another program that we have where we reimburse people to do continuous development, whether they want to go for college classes or take online courses through LinkedIn. So we take seriously our development of our employees, and as well as their personal and financial well-being. And so there's a number of ways that we do that, one of which is that student loan assistance program.
And that student loan assistance program, we're very excited about. That's the newest benefit here at Seal Shield, but probably the biggest benefit and the most expensive benefit is our healthcare plan. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it really is a best-in-class program, and it's not just about the insurance. We have a program where we fully fund a healthcare savings account. So to our team members, it's a zero-cost plan. They can go to the doctor and they can use essentially a debit card to pay whatever the deductible is, and that really that also stems from our belief that we want to look after people's personal and financial well-being. Because what we have found is that if people are struggling financially, that impacts all of us. And I think it's a reflection of how much we care about our team members.
Absolutely. So we've covered culture, we've covered benefits. Let's talk a little bit about vision and values. What can you tell us about how important vision and values are and what role they play at Seal Shield?
Yeah, so our mission here at Seal Shield is to prevent infection and save lives through technology and data management. And our values really help to support that. So our values, we have an acronym, ICEO, and it's something that we live every day. So that stands for integrity, customer obsession, empowerment, and ownership thinking. And I can say that's not just something that we made up. It's really something that we live by every day. And so we actually have a program where when you see someone else embodying one of those values, we call them out and recognize them for that. So it's pretty neat.
Right. In fact, we have an app that employees can give recognition to their peers, and they identify which of the values those actions represented, and they can get, I'm a little ashamed to say this, they're called Bradley Bucks. And with those Bradley Bucks, they can shop in major retail stores or in the Seal Shield swag store. And it's a great way to reinforce the values. And as Andrew said, it's not something we just put up on the website. It is something that we embrace and we live by. And in fact, we've implemented our vision and values into our product development process. You're in charge of product development, Andrew. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we utilize a process called V2 Mom, and that process acts as a filter through which we examine opportunities. And Seal Shield is not unlike other companies, both in the infection control space and elsewhere. And we're presented with a lot of opportunities. And I like to use metaphors a lot. And one of my favorite metaphors is that a fox who chases two rabbits catches neither. And so what I mean by that is that if we're pursuing too many opportunities, if we're prioritizing too many opportunities, then in reality, we're prioritizing none of them. And so in looking at an opportunity, we first see if it's in line with our vision and our values. And that's, I think that has served us very, very well in sorting out to distilling to the most important projects. And those are the ones that we choose to pursue.
And I'm particularly proud of the fact that we have implemented this plan that really does put our vision and values first, because what is the point of investing resources in something if it's not driving you to that ultimate goal towards that North Star? For us, that is to eliminate the problem of infections. And we want to be able to prevent infections and save lives. And that's why we started the Clean Talk podcast. It's fully funded by Seal Shield. It's a not-for-profit, and it's an open platform. We've invited competitors, fellow developers on here, industry experts, because we want to further the message of infection control in an open platform. And that's what the Clean Talk Infection Control podcast is all about. Now, it is an infection control podcast. So while we love talking about Seal Shield and our culture, I do want to get into some of the infection control technology. And I introduced you. You're the president of Seal Shield. You're also general counsel. You're an attorney and an engineer. So you're in charge of the legal department and in charge of product development and engineering. And so I want to get into the products a little bit. Now, Andrew, how long have you been working at Seal Shield?
It's been since 2008. So I've been at this for 14 years now.
14 years, really that long? Wow. Well, I guess that makes sense. I mean, you were a kid when you came to us, and now you're practically decrepit. So your story checks out. I imagine that in those 14 years, you've learned quite a bit about the infection control business, being involved not only on the legal side, but on the product development side. And Seal Shield is probably best known for our leading washable keyboards and mice. In 2006, we invented the world's first dishwasher safe keyboard and mouse. And now we're the market share leader in that niche of medical grade keyboards and mice. To what do you attribute the success of that product?
It's a lot of things. We talked about our values earlier. So I look at customer obsession. And so we developed a product that, or a suite of products that we knew that our customers wanted and that addressed a problem in the healthcare space. Because healthcare acquired infections, they're one of the number one killers of Americans. They're also one of the leading causes of adverse events in hospitals. So they're taking people's lives and they're affecting people's quality of lives. And so we sought about developing products which address that problems. And so, of course, the customers embraced that. But it's also the relationships that we've cultivated over the years with our distribution partners. And really, we have a lot of fantastic partnerships with a number of distributors, and I attribute the development of those relationships to our sales team. So we've got an excellent sales force, both inside and outside, who've developed those distribution relationships. We start with a great product that addresses a really important need, and I think that's been our recipe for success.
I agree with that. I think, it's a leading class product in terms of features and benefits. The Seal Shield keyboards and mice are completely submersible. They're rated to IP68, which means they can be fully submersed. They can be soaked in bleach. And with a reputation of quality, I think the Seal Shield brand carries a lot of weight in the marketplace. And in the keyboard and mouse products, we're manufacturing those in 30 different languages and distributing them worldwide. And in fact, we have a question from Oliver Van Exum. He's wondering, what are our plans for international expansion? Is that something you can talk a little bit about?
Exactly. Certainly. We recently developed a distribution relationship in Australia. And so that's super important, because without distribution, it's hard to get the product in our customers' hands in a timely manner. In Europe, we recently hired an employee over in Germany. And so she's over there cultivating distribution relationships. She's working directly with end users. And so that's certainly an important part of our success in the international markets. We still have a lot of opportunity for growth here in the United States. And so we are focused on that, but certainly we have huge plans for Europe, for Australia, and for South America.
Yeah, so future expansion in Latin America as well. We're expanding our presence in Canada, where we've had a lot of success. So more international expansion in the future. I want to get back to the products, but we do have another question. Appreciate everyone sending in the questions. We've got a lot of questions coming in. We'll try our best to answer them all. Derek Diaz asks, he says, Andrew, you are Seal Shield's general counsel. Can you describe your journey from practicing law to becoming president of an infection prevention technologies company. I will remind you, this is only a half-hour show, Andrew, but I will say on Andrew's behalf that it has been an impressive journey. Andrew came to us as an engineer and then helped us out in our law department and has worked his way up to being the president and our general counsel. It's pretty impressive. What more can you tell people about your journey?
I'd say I began practicing law and I had high hopes, but I sat in my law office every day and I found myself staring at the clock. And that's an unfortunate aspect of how attorneys charge just by the hour as opposed to the value that they provide. And so I wanted something different. And I have found during my time at Seal Shield that the clock moves a lot faster, almost too fast. You look down at your watch at the end of the day and you're like, holy cow. So that really is what led me to do what I'm doing now. And I certainly, I have no regrets and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
I think that's a great answer. And we're going to take a couple of more questions here. So we're jumping around a little bit, but we have a question that says, with these great benefits, as well as approach to an amazing company culture with an employee first mindset, being a leader in best practices, what brought Seal Shield on this uncommon yet first class route that their employees do love and appreciate? Well, I appreciate that question, and I'll handle this one. I think one of the things that I realized when I started this company, and I've seen other entrepreneurs, really brilliant individuals who have failed because they haven't been able to realize that ultimately you can't scale yourself. We all have an ultimate bandwidth. There's only 24 hours in a day. There's only 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, and we can only scale ourselves so much. When you have that realization, then the next logical step is, well, you need people you can trust. You need great people that you can depend on, that you can trust, that share your mission. And again, we have a powerful mission at Seal Shield. I think that attracts a lot of people. And then we want to offer the best benefits so that we can attract the best people to help us achieve that mission. Is there anything you'd add to that?
Not really. I think, well, I would say that we recognize from the beginning that we have to be obsessed with our customers. I think we also realize that we have to be obsessed with our employees, because without those two groups of people, you're simply not going to be successful.
That's right. And a powerful mission helps getting the right people aligned with a powerful mission. And along the same track, we have another question. What is Seal Shield doing to continually attract diverse talent? We all know this is a challenge in business right now, the great resignation, and we've had to be creative. And I think that the Great Benefits Program and some of the cultural events that you're spearheading really lead to our ability to attract great people. I also have to give a shout out to our HR department. We invested in a human resources department, and they've been outstanding at finding great candidates for us that can become a part of the team. What would you add to that?
Yeah, you have to cast a wide net, because we're obsessed with finding the brightest minds and people who are smarter than we are at what they do. And in order to attract them, you've got to have an amazing benefits package, number one. And you really have to, in a very short period of time, demonstrate for them what your company culture is like, because people aren't just searching for the highest pay. They want to be fairly compensated, but they also want to know with as much time as they're going to be spending at whatever work they're doing, that they're going to have a good time doing it. And so, and that's something you just can't fake. And that's why I mentioned earlier that we've been named for more than 10 years the best place to work in Orlando. And that kind of thing is really a third-party validation that you have a culture that attracts people.
And there's another piece here. It's we call it ownership thinking. You mentioned that is one of our values in iCEO, but it's also a core component about what makes us different as an organization. All the Seal Shield employees have an equity stake in the organization through equity options. So everyone is an owner. Additionally, we have a profit sharing plan that's extremely generous, and we share up to 20% of the profits with the employees. And if you're going to have a profit sharing plan, you have to have full transparency. So we're transparent, sometimes to a fault maybe, but that's part of the culture, which leads to that trust. And again, with a powerful mission, getting great people in to participate in the journey has been successful.
Absolutely.
So, great. So we still have more questions coming in, so we'll go ahead and try to take those. How can we promote collaboration between others in the manufacturing community to adopt infection control, infection prevention thoughts and ideas? And I love this question because that's why we started Clean Talk. If we're going to be true to our mission to prevent infections and save lives, then we need to have an open platform for the community where we can communicate best practices, where we can illuminate innovative solutions to help solve the problem of infection prevention, infection control. And so that's why we're here, right? Is to open up those relationships, to have collaboration, because we can't solve the problem alone. It takes a village. And that's why we have Clean Talk.
Yeah, when I first started with Seal Shield, I had a deep appreciation for the magnitude of the problem of hospital-acquired infections and how they were responsible for so many adverse events with patients in hospitals. What I didn't fully appreciate was the number of vectors for hospital-acquired infection. And we can't address them all. I talked earlier about focus. And so we have our particular area of focus. Other companies in the healthcare acquired infection space are addressing other vectors. And so we really don't view them as competition, but really fellow travelers along the same path. And that's why we invite them on this show to share with everyone what they're doing and how they're trying to address this common problem.
Well said. And you mentioned vectors. We talked a little bit about the keyboards and mice and how they help to eliminate the cross-contamination vector of touch on those devices. They can be disinfected to prevent cross-contamination infections. But there's other products that address other vectors, some of them in the Seal Shield portfolio. What can you tell us about UV light and how it's being utilized for device sanitization and what Seal Shield is doing in that regard?
Yeah, we really have a groundbreaking product in the electroclave. And the electroclave is an enclosure which utilizes UV LEDs to provide 360-degree disinfection of those devices, like iPhones, iPads, stethoscopes, and other small non-porous devices. And what's important about UV LEDs is that it accomplishes that disinfection with zero material degradation. And up until the advent of these UV LEDs, an inherent disadvantage of UV light was that it degrades products. It causes what our PhD chemical engineer calls micro fissures. I describe it as it makes the product more porous, and you'll notice that you'll notice yellowing of plastics, and what those micro fissures do is they make it more porous, and they make it so that it harbors bacteria. So it's rather unfortunate that in utilizing a device that's intended to disinfect a surface, unless you're using UV LEDs, you're actually making it more of a harbor for those bacteria. So that's the great thing about our electroclave is it uses those UV LEDs and it causes zero material degradation.
And I would just add on to that, you mentioned that we're getting 360-degree disinfection. That's not 360 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 360 degrees completely around the device. And that's important because some of the other products on the market might be giving you high kill rate exposure for one side or the face of a device. But unless you're getting 360-degree sanitization, it's really not effective. You mentioned the differentiation with the LEDs, the light emitting diodes, as opposed to mercury bulbs. There is a trade-off though, and we should talk about that. The LEDs generate less energy. So there's a trade-off. You're getting less energy, but you're not creating a surface that becomes more increasingly difficult to disinfect. So
yeah, LEDs are as they exist right now, a great application is an enclosure like this because they're not very useful at long distances. And so UV robots, for example, are very popular in the healthcare setting. And those are capable of disinfecting an entire room, but they have to utilize a mercury vapor bulb because there are such great distances. And UV LEDs, as they exist right now, they don't work over long distances. Perhaps that will improve. But another advantage of those LEDs, or rather another disadvantage of them is that they're very expensive. And so they're simply not practical in an application like a UV robot. But another inherent limitation of UV in general is shadowing. And so when you talk about 360-degree disinfection, the only way that can be accomplished is really by having UV generators surround the device. And that's simply not possible with something like a UV robot or something which you place in a room.
Well, that leads us to our next question from Bradford Smith. What do you think the future of UV looks like? Well, we've been fortunate on the Clean Talk podcast that we've had several UV device manufacturers, several UV innovators on the show. And as Andrew mentioned, UV robots are becoming more and more prolific. We've seen some great technological advances in that area with intelligent robots that can go into the room automatically. They know the dimensions of the room, so they know which areas they have to get to, leave the room automatically. We had Dr. K on here with Dimer, and he addressed the issue that UV loses its energy rapidly upon reflection and angle. And so he came up with the idea that let's make sure that the UV generating source can be adjusted to any angle, and you get more efficacious results from that. And so I think there's a lot of innovation around this UV technology. Certainly our innovation with the LEDs to prevent the material degradation. What other applications do you see in the future for UV?
Not so much other applications, but perhaps ways that it can be improved. I mentioned before that shadowing is a limitation of UV. And so I think that there will be opportunities to create surfaces in healthcare which reflect that UV. And so that can be beneficial and can help to address that problem by enabling, a robot, for example, to reflect off of a wall and then hit the backside of a surface that robot can't directly see. So I see that as a big benefit. Touchscreens are another problem. Because they can't be disinfected with liquid sanitizers. They ultimately break down the screen. It's difficult to clean them with UV light because UV can damage those screens. And so I see the utilization of films to be able to protect those devices. And I think that's becoming, I think people are recognizing that more and more now as they're seeing those touch screens being damaged in healthcare by either of those cleaning modalities.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Andrew, because Seal Shield does have a screen protector product that addresses this very issue. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. We've developed a film with a UV coating on the film, and that coating is capable of, or it's robust against any number of healthcare disinfectants. But it also protects whatever it covers from UV light. And that's important, as I mentioned, because touchscreen devices, which can be incredibly expensive in healthcare, those are easily damaged through UV. And you'll notice that in a lot of the instructions for use for UV disinfecting solutions, they'll say, hey, don't utilize this on a monitor. And a lot of times the people utilizing those devices perhaps haven't read those directions directly. And so we're seeing a lot of those very expensive touchscreens being damaged in healthcare. And there's really an inexpensive solution in our film. And we actually, it's not an off-the-shelf product. We custom cut those to whatever surface we're looking to cover. And so it's not really a consumer play. While we do provide films for devices like iPhones and iPads, we're really focused on the larger format screens, but we can custom cut anything. And so we see people wanting to coat desks, doors, any surface, and it protects it against UV, and it enables the folks in hospitals to use whatever sort of caustic cleaning chemical that they want to use.
Absolutely. And so we recognize and appreciate the value of UV as a disinfection modality, but it does have some challenges. As we've mentioned, the material degradation, the issues with monitors and touch screens, and these Seal Shield screen protectors are UV resistant, custom cut to any size patient monitoring device at our in-house facility in Jacksonville, Florida. And so we've basically found UV to be a solution for sanitization, but then it causes problems to the equipment. And so the screen protectors are the solution to protecting that equipment from the UV.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, so that's a few of the vectors you talked about. And there's a number of other vectors. We haven't addressed the air. And today, Seal Shield doesn't have an air purification product, but we've had the question about UV applications, and there are some emerging air purification products that also utilize UV, either as the primary modality for disinfection or as a secondary modality, such as in photocatalytic oxidation. So we see some products coming on the market in that space that are super intriguing. And we have a question, what is the next high touch surface area SealShield plans to address with its innovative technology? Andrew, do you want to field that one?
That's a tough one. As I mentioned before, we're really guided by our mission of preventing infection and saving lives through technology and data management. So that's really our guiding light. I do see us expanding into air. I also see us beginning to manufacture what are so-called medical devices. We've historically avoided that because of the huge amount of regulation in that space. And because it has taken us a while to develop a reputation in the healthcare space, and that's very important. I tell people frequently now that COVID has become such a well-known problem that we existed before that, and so we've been around now for more than 15 years, and we are a well-known entity now in the healthcare space, and that gives us the ability or the privilege of being able to begin to develop healthcare devices.
And I would add that we really do consider ourselves a development company. We've got some great product developers that report to Andrew, and we're constantly developing. So the keyboard and mouse that we introduced in 2006 as the world's first dishwasher safe keyboard and mouse, we've had a number of iterations on that product, and we offer it in several different flavors, whatever color you want, whether it's white, black, red, corded, cordless, different formats, different form factors, either to fit specific medical equipment or for personal preference. So always developing in that space. And now we've developed what it's safe to say, the greatest keyboard that has ever been produced for the healthcare market. And that's called the CleanWipe Pro. It's just a solid keyboard, and it'll be a platform for further development in that keyboard space, right? Is that something you can talk about?
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason why we've experienced so much success in the computer peripheral market is because we have so many form factors that addresses so many different needs in healthcare, and so we really are a customer obsessed company. We've listened to our customers, and we've utilized the V2 MOM process, a part of which requires us to solicit the feedback of customers. And this product really fits a need. It can be cleaned while it's actually plugged in, which is something that we heard from customers over and over that they wanted, so they don't have to reach behind the computer and unplug it. It's incredibly robust because in the healthcare settings, they're pushing computers around on carts, and they're not very careful with them, and so it's designed to withstand a ton of abuse. And we're working to incorporate tap and go technology so that you can utilize your keyboard to log into your software. It saves time, it saves money, and it saves real estate on a computer cart. So it's really a fantastic product, a really robust product, and it's one that I'd say is first in class. And the reputation and the brand name that we've developed in the space, I think is allowing us to release such an incredible product.
And it has a unique waterproofing solution that makes it fully submersible and manufacturable that way. So high quality, off the line. And I don't know that we can talk too much about future IP there, but it will be a platform for further development that we have in the works. And then the screen protectors, 100% developed in-house at SealShield to address this problem of harsh chemicals destroying monitors in healthcare, UV disinfection, destroying monitors in healthcare, completely developed in-house. And we've stood up a production facility where we're actually producing those and custom cutting them in-house. So another testament to great innovation there. And then the ultimate testament to innovation is the electroclave. And we talked a little bit about the novelty of using UVC LEDs and why we're doing that. We didn't even talk about the fact that we're using an RFID tracking system. So now, not only are you able to sanitize devices, you're able to prove in an audit that you sanitize those devices. You know the status of the devices, and you know the performance of the individuals who are managing those devices and whether they're meeting the infection control protocols. And all of that's part of our IP and is completely unique in the industry. So I think there's been a lot of development that we'll continue to build on. You mentioned the airspace. You can do everything you want to the surfaces, but if it's in dirty air, it doesn't do much good. So that's something we're looking at. And I think we have some novel innovations coming people's way in the airspace, right?
Absolutely. And we got the question earlier, where do we see Seal Shield in the next 10 years? And that's very much a part of it, that trackability. So when somebody's cleaning our keyboards, our mice, when they're utilizing our screen protectors to enable somebody to clean a monitor, they don't have the ability to document that they've done that or to go back and see, what surfaces have been cleaned. And so I think that data component is going to become increasingly important. And the electroclave is the first product where we begin to track the cleaning, not just who's doing it, but what device they're cleaning. And I think that trackability and that data component I see it spreading through healthcare in the next 10 years. And we're certainly developing around that expectation.
I agree with that. A little ahead of its time, but we're starting to see the data communication from these devices. And we're certainly ahead of the curve there, because that is the ultimate answer. It doesn't matter if you cleaned it, if you can't prove it, or if you don't know it. So certainly that's going to be a key attribute, as you said, probably over the next 10 years. Another question from Oliver, how do you keep these innovations coming year after year? How to trigger them? Well, we've got a very talented development department that reports to Andrew and includes Andrew, but we really listen to our customers. Can you talk a little bit about the Healthcare Advisory Council and how that has helped with the product development process?
Absolutely. And it's part of the V2 MOM process. It's part of the customer obsession. At first, we would develop products by us trying to anticipate what customers want. And then we came up with the idea of going directly to the customer or directly to the experts, the leading experts in the field. And that's really the advisory board is comprised of experts in the healthcare field and in the infection control space. And I'm amazed every time we get that group of people together, the ideas that emanate from that. And so many of them, you're like, man, why did I not think of that before? And the reality is we probably, without that feedback, never would have thought of that. We're not in the hospital every day. They are. They're seeing the problems that they're having. They're anticipating the problems. And by listening to the customer, by listening to the user, we're able to address those critical needs and problems that they're experiencing.
Yeah, it's been a great experience for us with our Healthcare Advisory Council made up of customers and industry experts, and really I think it's safe to say, drove a lot of the product development decisions, particularly on the electroclave and on the CleanWipe keyboard as well, right? Absolutely.
And first of all, a lot of the product ideas begin with the feedback that we get from the advisory council. And then as we develop that, a lot of times there's trade-offs. And so we'll go back to them. We'll go back to other customers and say, hey, what do you think about this versus that? And it really shapes products like the electroclave, products like the new CleanWipe Pro that we just launched.
And all these products we're talking about were 100% developed in-house by Seal Shield. But as we said, we recognize there are a lot of vectors and we can't do it all alone. And again, that's one of the reasons for the Clean Talk podcast, to have a platform for developers and innovators to come forward. And we've been fortunate to meet a lot of these people with really innovative solutions and with a strong mission for improving outcomes through infection prevention efforts. And we're not in a situation where it has to be developed here. We're open to partnerships and working with other companies that if we can help them utilize our distribution channels to get a solution to the market. So if you're in our audience and you have a product or an innovation that you'd like to bring on Clean Talk, please reach out to us. You can go to our YouTube channel, the Clean Talk YouTube channel, to watch our archival episodes, or you can go to cleantalk.tv to register to be a part of our community and participate in these shows live. Andrew, I really appreciate you being on Clean Talk today. How honored are you to know that you're my mentee and protege?
It's meant a lot. As I said before, it's been 14 years. It's been an incredible journey, and I'm hoping for many more.
Well, you heard it there. I taught him everything he knows. Our guest has been Andrew McCarthy, President and General Counsel at Seal Shield. And be sure, if you didn't catch the whole episode, to go see it on YouTube, on the Clean Talk YouTube channel. You can also catch all our archival episodes there. Until then, for my guest, Andrew McCarthy, I'm your host, Brad Whitchurch, reminding you to keep it clean.